Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stacey West preview show. I'm your host Jake Tong. Another Sky Bet League One clash against Ipswich Town, familiar foe for Lincoln over the last sort of 5 years or so. Before we get started, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Trying to get to 500 subs by the end of 2022. Now we've got a different guest on for Ipswich. We tend to have Benjamin Bloom. We've gone down a different route today. We've got the Cruncher, aka Richard. Mate, how you doing? All good?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for having me on, mate.
Looking no worries whatsoever. We like to talk about Ipswich, especially given the history that we've had with them over the last 5 years or so. The cup.
Yeah, we won't talk about the FA Cup game. We'll just move on, shall we?
I don't know. I think our fans might want to talk about it. No, we're here to talk about Ipswich at the moment. Now, Paul Cook didn't work out for Ipswich at the start of the season. Obviously, he was relieved of his duties. And Kieran McKenna, quite a coup at the time, who was assistant to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United, came in. Has he improved you, do you think? Are you getting better?
Yeah, massively. Look, he came in and I think we were 11 points off the playoffs. It was late January. I was a Paul Cook fan. I really liked him, but it just, for one reason or another, it didn't work out. It probably wasn't the right fit. He's gone on now to Chesterfield and hope he does really well there. But yeah, Kieran McKenna came in. I don't think a lot of people knew a lot about him, if we're being brutally honest. But you've just got to look at his record. I think we've played 13 games. We've won 8, drawn 3 and lost 2. We've conceded 5 goals in 13 games. There's 9 clean sheets in there. 1 goal conceded in the last 700 odd minutes. So it's all positive and we're moving in the right direction. But we're just outside the playoffs. We are playing catch up, and that's probably through the start of the season. And obviously, our first victory was against your lads.
Yeah, 7 unbeaten in the league as of the moment. Is it a new style that McKenna's implemented then, or is it a similar? Because with all the personnel changes that happened at Ipswich over the summer, you could play a multiple. You could choose whatever way you wanted. You brought in players that could play on the floor, that could go long. Has McKenna sort of switched up the playing style a little bit?
I think when you look at going back in the summer when we had like 19 new signings, I don't think we'll ever see another transfer window like that. When you're looking back now, you probably like we were all getting carried away. Oh yeah, we're going to win the league. You know what football fans are like. I think realistically, looking back now, I don't think anybody's ever made that amount of signings and it's worked straight away. And it was, look, Paul Cook, he had all the tools at his disposal. It didn't work, like I say, for one reason or another. Kieran's come in. And he's only signed, he signed Christian Walton on a permanent. He was on loan from Brighton, the goalkeeper. Really good signing. And he only signed 2 loan players in January. So he's basically working with what Paul Cook signed. And playing style, Cookie was always a 4-2-3-1. That was probably his downfall, how he wouldn't go away from that. The subs, it seemed, he wouldn't change formation. Whereas McKenna's come in, it's a possession-based football. We had that under Paul Lambert when he was here, but that was football for me without a purpose. We were keeping the ball but doing nothing with it. Whereas McKenna's come in and we are looking to we can all pass it around the back and 500 passes, whatever. We do look to go forward. He changes up the front three on a quite, I'd say game by game basis. Probably because he doesn't really know who his main sort of front striker wants to be, because in the summer you will probably see that he'll get his own personnel in, but he's working with what he's got, and you just have to, like I said, look at the stats. And they tell their own story. We don't score a great number of goals. I will say that. We do have a lot of possession. It was like we played Cheltenham and Morecambe and drew both them games, but we had like 37 attempts on goal in both them games. But for one reason or another, the ball didn't go in. At Morecambe, the goalkeeper had an absolute man of the match display. On Saturday, we probably didn't play as well as we did against Cheltenham and Morecambe, but we won 2-0. And and you know what football's like. That is football. You know, it's all about the result at 5:15 or 10:15 on a midweek, isn't it? And we were happy coming away from that game with a 2-0 victory, 3 points in the bag, and still in ninth place, which we seem to have been forever.
Yeah, you mentioned the Paul Lambert sort of era there. I think nothing sort of epitomises what you said there more than the game at our place last season, where you had the ball probably 90% of the time and didn't cause Lincoln a problem whatsoever. Now, Ipswich are a massive club at this level, Richard. No one's given that up. But have they left themselves too much to do, because they had a really poor start to the season, didn't you? You were towards the bottom four, maybe 5-6 games in. Have you just given yourselves too much work to recover that season and then finish in the top 6?
Yeah, look, you will probably end where you deserve to, over 46 games. McKenna at the minute, he's averaging over 2 points a game, and if he carried that on through the season, we probably would be in the top 2. But when the fixtures came out and we had Morecambe first game, Cheltenham was in there, AFC Wimbledon, no disrespect to them teams, Burton away, I think we all got carried away a little bit as supporters, thinking, oh yeah, easy start. You know, we've got all these shiny new players. We'll hit the ground running, and it didn't work. And you're probably right. Now we sit ninth position in the league with 5 points off. But if you look at, I know Sheffield Wednesday, you beat them Saturday. They've got a game in hand over us. Plymouth have got 2. So realistically, it could be 8 points. If it stays at 5, I think on our pod the other day, it was a 4% chance we've got of making the playoffs. So we've got 10 games left. I just think, take the next game. I know that's boring, but win that game, and then we've got Portsmouth Saturday. But it is a case of winning as many games as you can in that final 10 and seeing where it takes you. But I do think this season, 6th place. I think last season it was Oxford, got 74. And I think you're going to need probably 4 or 5. You could need near 80 points. I think it does depend how obviously results pan out. But I do think we're on the outside looking in. And we've always, like I said, we seem like we've been in 9th place forever, because it is probably because of that start that's hurting us. But then you could flip it and say, if we'd have beaten Morecambe and we'd have beaten Cheltenham, another 4 points, we'd have been 1 point off. So it is small margins in football, but I just think just keep winning as many games as you can. We've got to play a lot of the top 6. After you, we've got Portsmouth, Oxford and Plymouth. So I'd say the next 4 games are probably going to define where we finish. If we get to like 5 or 6 games with the season left and you're still 5 or 6 points out, it's going to be too much. I think in the end, Jake, I think that the games will just run out and we'll probably finish 9th, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah, and do you think it's more looking towards next season? Because League One is probably the strongest it's been for a long time, especially given how long we've been in the division, and you guys have been in the division a similar sort of length to what we have. It's clearly the strongest it's ever been. But are you sort of pre-planning for next year, where McKenna can bring in his own players and implement his own playing style even better than what you've seen so far, that's seen you gone on a really good unbeaten run?
I do think our fans have a little tendency to say, oh yeah, next season we'll do it. And next season sometimes never comes, does it? You have to look at what's happening now. But I do think it's different than under the previous 2 managers, you know, Paul Lambert and then we had Paul Kidd. I think it's a totally different feel. He's one of these younger coaches. You only have to look at Liam Manning and look at the fantastic job he's doing at MK at the minute. You know, great results Saturday at Rotherham. And it will be interesting to see who Kieran gets in the summer. Will he go back to Man United? He's obviously got links there. He was at Spurs. He knows a lot of these young players in the academies. I don't think we need to add. Look, like I say, we had 19 new signings in the summer. I think it's more a case there'll probably be a few leave, because that's just football. It's the quality that I'm hoping in the summer that we get in. Look, we've got 4 strikers at the football club at the minute. James Norwood, Joe Piggott, obviously we signed him from AFC Wimbledon, and he's really struggled. He hasn't played a lot of games. He played Saturday. I thought he had a decent game, but he hit the post again. He's got two league goals all season. He got over 20 last season. Now, he hasn't become a bad player overnight, but it might be a case of he might move on. You don't know. It just depends what Kieran wants. Caden Jackson, he was out in the under-23s, and Kieran's revived him. He's brought him back in. He scored Saturday, and he's looking he's looking good. We got Macaulay Bond, obviously scored the winner when we played you away early in the season. He got 11 goals in the first 16 games, and then he's got, I think it's 1 goal in the last 22 league and cup games. So that's the end of the pitch I would be looking at in the summer. If we need someone who's going to get, I'd say, 20 goals to get you out of this league. And look, that's what everyone's looking for, aren't they? You know, but we've probably got the finances that we might be able to attract a player to drop down, because obviously we got Connor Chaplin drop down, we got Sam Morsey drop down, Christian Walton's obviously played at a higher level. But we'll see what happens in the summer. But look, I just want a positive end to the season, win as many games as we can. If we don't go up, we have some good signings in the summer, hit the ground running in August, and we really need to be up there challenging next season, because like this is the 3rd season we've been in this league, and it probably looks like we're not going to make the playoffs for the 3rd season running. But you only have to look at Sunderland, how hard it is to get out of this league. They've been in, this is their 4th season, and it looks like they're probably going to be in for a 5th season at the way they're going at the minute. Yeah,
absolutely. And you mentioned the strikers that you've got at your disposal. I think I'd probably take most of those. We're going on to Saturday, and obviously the game against Fleetwood. Would it be fair to say that under the Cook regime, you might not have won that, because Ipswich have sort of over the last 10 games or so have grown this streak where they can grind out results? Do you think that it would be fair to say that you might not have won that game under previous management?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point there. You know, we didn't play brilliant Saturday, but it's all about, like I say, you get that win. It was 0-0 for a long, long time. We conceded a lot of goals when Paul Cook was here. That was probably, I think, for the first 6 games, we conceded 2 goals in every single game. Now, you're not going to do anything. We all know what football's like. If you keep conceding goals, and you're having to score 2 and 3 goals a game to win the game, you're not really going to have a good season. Kieran's come in, and we're giving nothing away at the back. So touch wood, when we play you tomorrow night, it'll continue. I don't want to jinx it, but that's the foundation. You know, you keep the back door shut. If you can nick a goal the other end, look at Arsenal back in the day, 1-0 to the Arsenal they used to sing. And that's, look, we all want to win 2 and 3-0, but sometimes a 1-0 victory is just good enough, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. And obviously you ran out 2-0 winners over Fleetwood, which sort of helped us out a little bit as well down the bottom end of the table. Now, I've highlighted some key men for Ipswich. Obviously, you'd be able to tell me more. Obviously, you mentioned Christian Walton there, a player that's played in the Championship and the Premier League. I've also wrote down, well, I could have written half of your squad down, to be honest, Richard. Selina is one I think that really stands out, given his quality at Swansea and coming through at Manchester City. And then what a player that Lincoln fans will be known to, James Norwood, went on a really good run of scoring form, didn't he? I think it was a back end of 2021 into January. Just let us know who you think the key men are for your side.
Well, yeah, obviously Christian Walton's he's come in. I think it's a key position, you know, goalkeeper, and we've struggled over the years since we had Bartosz Białkowski. He went to Millwall. He won Player of the Year 3 seasons on the trot, and that was probably a big reason why we stayed in the Championship for so long. And then he sort of fell out when Paul Hurst came in, and then we've been struggling for a goalkeeper like a number one since then. And Christian Walton's come in, and he's got good pedigree. You know, he's been on loan for a lot of years. You know, and he's obviously now he's made his home at Ipswich, and we hope that he stays for a good number of years because he's a solid goalkeeper. I'd say, like I said about the defensive record, you've got Luke Wolfenden. He's another one. He fell out of favour, young player, coming under Paul Lambert. He had a season on loan at Swindon. And then when Cook came, he sort of fell out of favour. I think if Paul Cook was still manager, he probably would have moved on. But he's had a resurgence under Kieran. Yeah, look, Selina's a quality player. Really, should he be playing in League One? No. He is a little bit inconsistent. I would say that. He does need to do more, but he came in, he had COVID quite bad. He had a heart problem. So I don't think he had, I don't know what sort of pre-season he had, but I don't think he's had the pre-season that everybody else has had. He's capable, you know, of them moments of quality. Saturday, he played him. He was in centre midfield in the first half, and then he made a substitution. He took Joe Pigott off, and then he moved him further forward. He got an assist for the second goal. Lovely through ball to Caden Jackson. Look, we know what he can do in this league. He would be on the top of my list in the summer to make that permanent. Reportedly, he's on 21 grand a week, so that is a lot of money. We are in League One. So he's still got 2 years to run on his contract at Dijon, and I can't see they're going to want him to be paying that sort of money. So I'd really hope that they could do a deal and sign him. James Norwood, yeah, he won Player of the Month. He came back. He was another one. Sort of, no one knows what happened. He was out in the cold. Was it Paul Cook not playing him? Was it Mark Ashton that he didn't sort of fit the sort of type of person that he wanted at the football club? It was weird when Paul Cook, when he went on the Saturday night, James Norwood tweeted, didn't have a problem with him, and no one knows what happened there. But he got brought back in. John McGreal, he was the temporary manager. He brought him back in. He scored at Wigan, come off the bench there, and then he went on a run, scored 4 goals. Since then, it's a bit weird. We had him on our podcast, and I've given him quite a bit of stick over the last couple of seasons. Since he's been on our show, he's not scored. So maybe I should get to give him a bit of stick again. But to be fair to him, sometimes we're playing the front three, and he's played out on the left-hand side of the front three. And I'll be honest, totally honest, I don't think it suits James Norwood at all. He's a centre forward up against the last defender. You know, he likes to have a bit of a scrap on the pitch. You know, gets stuck in, gives away a few free kicks, gets the opposition a little bit rattled. He's got a 12-month extension on his contract in the summer. It'd be interesting to see if he stays. But I'd say the main man, I know there's a lot of people. I'd pick out another 2. I don't want to bore you too much. Wes Burns. Yeah. Obviously, we signed him from Fleetwood. He was the first signing. He come on a free transfer. And I think he was one of them signings who sort of a little bit under the radar. He signed, and then there was all like the Joe Pigots come, you know, the Salinas, the Morseys. He was sort of Wes Burns. Who's Wes Burns? You know, he played for Fleetwood. He's come in and he's been excellent. He's got 10 goals. I think he's got probably about 4 or 5 assists, playing wing back on the right hand side. He's got the pace to burn, and I think he's probably the danger man you should be looking at tomorrow night. If you can shut him out of the game, I think they'll go a long way to maybe getting you a result. But I'd say him, Sam Morsey in midfield. I think he's the heartbeat of our football club. He's the captain. Gets stuck in, you know. He'll probably pick up a yellow card because he normally gets a yellow card a game. Scored his first goal Saturday away. Yeah. But Fleetwood got the first goal. Shouldn't really, for my money, be playing in League One. He's a Championship player playing in League One. And hopefully, sooner or later, he'll lead us to get out of this league. It might not be this season, but if it's not this season, hopefully it's next. But they're the sort of men you need to watch. But I think it'll be a tight game. I don't think there'll be many goals tomorrow night. Yes. So not many players to look out for than Lincoln City fans. I want to just take your mind back to earlier in the season where Ipswich came down to the bank and come away with a 1-0 win. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that game. I think a lot of Lincoln City supporters, given the goal and the way that Macaulay Bond sort of had 2 hands in the back of Ioma, it was a bit of a controversial goal. Obviously, you wouldn't. I think he's got to be stronger. Your defender's got to be stronger, this is the argument, isn't it? I think Lincoln fans are going, it should be a free kick. It should, and then Ipswich fans are going, well, you centre half needs to be stronger. But what were your thoughts on that game? Were you sort of thinking, oh God, you know, Lincoln would play a finalist last year. This is a good place to go and win. Not many teams will come there and win. You know, we quite happy with that result. It was a tough place to go because I remember coming there 2 seasons before we played you just after Christmas and you beat us 5-3. Oh yeah, turned us over then, and then I always remember that because New Year's Day, literally about 2 or 3 days later, we were going to Wickham, driving to Wickham, and then it broke on the radio that they'd given Paul Lambert a new 5-year contract, and everyone could not believe what was going on. I nearly crashed the car, but it was we hadn't won. Like I said before, when we went to yours earlier in the season, and I thought tough place to go. We took a good following down there. It was a good, decent away performance, and the goal. I do get that. If you're on the end of it, you're probably going to say it's a foul. You are. But looking the other way, we probably think it's not a foul. Yeah. But it was a decent away performance. Looking back, the weather was nice. You know, it was a nice journey home, and we sort of thought then maybe we were off and running, but that didn't sort of transpire under Paul Cook. But it was a good victory because obviously we got quite a poor record at yours, haven't we? Obviously the FA Cup game, the 5-3. I think you beat us in the league when it was behind closed doors as well. When I think Brendan Johnson, he was on loan, wasn't he, for you? And I think he got blown over by a gust of wind, didn't he? There.
Well, I mean, I'm just sort of curious to get your thoughts on how you thought Lincoln have sort of done so far this year. Obviously, you've seen us in the game against yourselves at Sinsel Bank, but then are you surprised to see that we're sort of? I know we're 7 points clear of the bottom four as it stands, but playoff finalists last year. I'm trying to not sound like when you've got your Pompey, your Sunderland had something going, oh yeah, we're a massive football club. We're not at this level, but are you surprised to see us down where we are, given how good we were last year?
Well, he was linked with Town when Cook went, Michael Appleton, because he had links with obviously Mark Ashton when. So he was. I thought he'd be a good manager. Because I think he's done quite a good job for you. And I thought I had you higher up the table this season, but I suppose it's hard, isn't it, for teams sometimes when they get to the playoffs. You have that disappointment of losing, and then you have a little bit of a hangover going into the next season.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, like you got John Marquis come in. He's decent at this level. Didn't really cut the mustard at Portsmouth. He done well when he was at Donny. What about Teddy Bishop? How's he been performing? Because obviously you got him from us. He's talented player, Teddy. Way too injury prone at Town. Missed lots of football. Probably benefited him to make the move away, because I don't think he would have been anywhere near our team this season. But I just wondered how he's been getting on.
Yeah, I think the story of Teddy Bishop without even watching him this year. He's been in and out of the team, on the floor, as equally as much as he has been on his feet, which is a real shame because, as you say, the talent with Teddy is massive. It is so there. The way he drives past midfielders and. Well, he's been playing right back for us, which is a bit.
I thought he'd been playing right back. Why have they played him there? What, injury problems?
Well, we've had injury concern after injury concern, and Teddy's been forced to play at right back. So he played right back away at Sunderland, was fantastic. I think it's the fact that he's quite, if you played him at fullback, he's quite an attacking fullback.
Yeah, definitely.
And it helps where in possession we sort of go through at the back and move him into midfield. And he can go and help be an extra body. A bit like what Manchester City's fullbacks do. They go in, you have your holding midfielder drop in, and then your two fullbacks sort of to go in there. But
it's a bit like Burns, a bit like Wes Burns for us, because he plays he does play wing back, but you'll see he tomorrow night will push further forward. And Janoy Donashinu, who plays right side of the back three, he drops into that right back position. So that gives sort of an extra body forward. But yeah, Bishop, I was a big fan of him at Town, and he came in under McCarthy when we got in the playoffs. He had a really good season that season, and then he couldn't keep fit.
Yeah,
it's literally he's made of glass.
Yeah. That's the issue with him because, like we say, he's so talented. We'll move on to Saturday then, mate. You sort of alluded to the fact that Ipswich are playing three at the back at the moment. Obviously, we went three at the back on Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday, and it worked quite convincingly. What are your sort of expectations going into the game tomorrow night?
I think this is a big week for Town. We've got yourselves, obviously, tomorrow, and we've got Portsmouth. Now, if we're going to have any aspirations of making the top six, it has to be 2 wins. However we play, this stage of the season doesn't really matter, does it? It's all about the result. But we're going to have a big crowd tomorrow night. They had obviously pack out Portman Road. They had a 3-game bundle before Christmas of getting the fans in for cheaper tickets. And obviously the game was cancelled because of COVID. Before, that would have been one of McKenna's first games. So we're going to 25,000. I think that'll be the 6th or 7th time we've had 20 plus on the trot. So it's going to be a big crowd, big expectations, with a home team. But I still think it'll be a tough game. We all know what League One's like. There's some tough teams. We've got like Cheltenham came the last home game and everybody thought we'd just roll them over. But you get these teams nowadays, they're well coached, they're well set up, and there's not any real gimme game. So I'm expecting a tough game tomorrow night. I think we'll probably edge the game. I'd go for a 1-0 Town. I'll be quite happy with that. Obviously, I hope we get 2 or 3 and smash it. But I'm just being realistic. We don't score a great deal of goals. I think we probably only scored about, off the top of my head, maybe about 17 under McKenna. Might be a little bit less. But 1-0's good enough tomorrow night. It's all about them 3 points. And we'll look at the fixtures tomorrow night. There's some other teams around us are playing. You hope that some of them slip up. But the first thing we need to do is do our own job, win the game, and then see what the other results are. It's no good really, I know as a football fan we do, don't we? All look at the fixtures and think they'll lose to them, they'll lose, and it never pans out in League One because there's some odd results. We all know what it's like, and if we're not on our game tomorrow night, and you are, you can turn us over. But we are quite strong at home. We haven't lost. I think we've only lost 2 or 3 at home all season. We've got 6 out of the 10 games remaining at home, so we've really got to make it a fortress, and we'll play on the front foot tomorrow night. One thing under Kieran McKenna, which I will say, which I think he's got them fitter. Under Paul Cook, after about 60 minutes, we looked out on our feet. But under McKenna, we play for the full 90, full 95. It'll be interesting to see what changes he makes tomorrow night, because I don't know if you guys have played down at Fleetwood yet. The pitch there, it was an absolute mud heap on Saturday. You know, you'd rather plant your potatoes than play football on it. It was a heavy pitch. He might make 2 or 3 changes. He'll probably be in the forward areas if he does, Jake. You know, he's kept the same back 3. He normally plays 2 in midfield. Wes Burns and Dominic Thompson on loan from Brentford will be your wing backs, and then it'll be the front 3. Will Joe Pigott keep his place? I thought he had a decent game Saturday, but still struggling for goals. I'd like to see him given another opportunity. Caden Jackson scored Saturday. Will he keep him in? Will he keep Chaplin, Selena? We've got a lot of players, mate. I hope you're nervous.
What a problem to have, eh? I think one thing that Ipswich can certainly draw confidence in is the fact that our goalkeeper Griffiths looks likely to miss the game completely. He rolled over on his ankle and got a concussion on Saturday, so he's likely to miss it. And we're likely.
So who have you got to come in for him?
A debutant, Jordan Wright, who's coming from the Forest Academy, who played 3 minutes on Saturday. Kept a clean sheet, but it's only 3 minutes, isn't it?
But then you never know; it might inspire him. You know, debut. You know, in front of a big crowd, he could have like I say, when we played Morecambe and had the lad Carson in goal for them, and he was inspired that day. So he might be tomorrow. I hope he lets one through his legs in the first 5 minutes and has a bit of a shocker, and then has a great game after that on the next Saturday.
Yeah, well, Trevor Carson probably would let one through his legs when he was playing for Lincoln 10 years ago, whenever it was. But thanks for coming on, Richard. Massively appreciate it.
No worries.
Do you want to plug your podcast? Obviously, you do the Talking Town pod. And
yeah,
where
Talking Town. Talking Town, if you go onto YouTube, search, either put Talking Town in the search bar or home dressing room, and that pops up there, and give us a subscribe. We're on to nearly up to 3,500 subscribers. We do content coming out of our ears. If you like cricket as well, we've got a cricket show that I host. So, really enjoyable doing that. And good luck for you for the rest of the season, apart from tomorrow night.
Yeah, wicked. Well, thanks for coming on, mate. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another preview. Thank you very much.